So I think one of the reasons a network map is so useful is it helps groups working in a particular area identify their role within a wider network and understand where there might be connections lacking that they might be able to tap into for building future projects or collaborating better to make things more efficient, the way they work, for example. We've been in a process of consultation with stakeholders in the Wandon Valley and our partners through the scheme since creating the map. So we've taken it to a number of events, an AGM, a community forum event, and we've been finding out how partners and organisations perceive they might use the map and how they might find it useful. And I think some of the things that have come up are they might be looking to include a snapshot of their relationships within future funding bids, so to show how connected that organisation is and how well it can deliver particular projects through the network that they've created around them. So they think it might be a good snapshot to kind of capture that information and use it to prop up these bids.
So that was one of the main things. And the other thing on a basic level is it's just a pretty picture. It's a beautiful interactive diagram that can be used at events, especially when there's lots of networks and lots of people there. It just gives that basic message of it's a complex place. It's interesting.
Definitely one of the challenges is when you set out to develop a network map, you're in a position where you are doing that from your own limited knowledge. So you are one person in a huge periphery of organisations and people, and actually you're creating a snapshot of your own insight. So I think through doing this process we've uncovered other organisations we were perhaps aware of but weren't quite aware of their role within the greater community. And so we've done quite a bit of research, literally just sitting there and Googling sometimes and looking at people's meeting attendee lists and social media accounts to get a bit of more insight. So we've tried to back up our own thought process with other mechanisms and more sort of tangible evidence, yeah. But it's definitely a learning curve to say actually it's just a snapshot of your own knowledge, and to make it a really robust tool you have to do a lot of consultation work around it with the stakeholders who you're placing on the map. So it's no good just actually putting those people there and hoping that's the true representation. You actually have to go to those stakeholders and say, do you agree with this theory, this network map that we've created, and get them to edit it. So it's definitely an evolving process. I think one we thought might be quite static is actually more of an evolution and actually involves a lot of consultation, which in itself is really interesting.
We should have done it probably in development before we'd even got the money to do lots of good work, because it would have probably influenced how we would have built projects. Through doing it we've identified, and it's made us look at the valley differently. There are people that manage that deliver sort of big events with different partners and different people, so they're hubs. There are people that manage forums and host other partnerships, and those groups would have been, I think we could have been a bit cleverer with the way we built our projects from the beginning if we used this first of all.
One interesting thing that you learn from doing this is actually sectors or organisations that you're lacking within your wider network. So for example, we have quite a strong basis of natural heritage conservation organisations within the valley, but maybe not so much music or cultural or arts organisations. That perhaps is due to our own limited knowledge and the way our programme has been run.
I would say do it, but make sure you've got enough time to indulge yourself, because we've got quite addicted, but yet we're in a position and our roles mean that we can't prioritise this above just delivering our projects and getting the job done. So I think this needs to be built in and enjoy it, but build in enough time so you can do it properly.
And one of the things we came to realise is actually, depending on the network that you're trying to map, it can be quite a politically charged tool to both create and then use.
Because it can highlight your ignorance quite easily, can't it?
And it also, I mean, through doing it, it highlights the sort of top players, the big weavers within a network, which again, depending on your network, can be quite a politically charged situation, because if you've got multiple organisations who are trying to act as hubs and coordinating relationships and brokering relationships, it's quite interesting to map those and see how they interact with each other, and it could be, you know, used as a tool to develop one further than another. Not all organisations that are borough or cross-borough working are the kind of hubs, that they're sometimes the more local organisations.
And they might not promote themselves in that way either, because that's the thing, a lot of organisations are doing this work, but they don't promote themselves or big themselves up as doing it, whereas obviously the people with the loudest voices, they weren't the surprise, but it's those small sneaky ones that were quite fun to find.